Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso at thewatchbox.com. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Reach out to me directly, tmosso at thewatchbox.com. Today, we're discussing the 2019 to present repowered Patek Philippe Nautilus. This is the 5711/1A-010 as repowered for 2019. So let's talk about the basics, the size, and then what's inside. So 40 millimeters in diameter, but if you measure it across the case with the winglets included, it's just over 42. 8.6 millimeters thick. The best way to measure this watch is from the end of one side of the case to the other, and that gives you a measurement of 44.5 millimeters. When you throw it on the wrist, the watch feels more compact than the bare measurements relate, as it seems almost as though it's more like a 38 or a 37, though broad. It's broad down the wrist, lengthwise with the wrist, and I recommend you could wear this on a wrist as small as 13.5 centimeters circumference. There's your cuff shot, easily fitting underneath the sleeve. Here's your over-the-top shot, plenty of clearance on both sides, and then here's your down-the-barrel shot. You can see I could wear this on a much smaller wrist. Now, taking a look at the hardware, the bracelet has always been a little bit of a dichotomy. Since 2012, when the company went to pin sleeves for removable links, the bracelet is extensively hand-finished and exhaustively hand-finished with a polished bevel that transitions from the lug hood all the way down, perfectly aligned across each link shoulder, large polished centers, and even larger flanking satin primary links with longitudinal satin finish on the edges, and then gaps on the underside to avoid pinching skin or pulling hair. The use of pin sleeves is puzzling given how expensive it already is to create this bracelet as is, and how time intensive it is to finish this bracelet. But if I could say one thing about pin sleeves, it's that they do stay put. Sometimes screws can back out. Taking a look at the clasp itself, it's double fold, all of high polish internally, and then there are actually spring-loaded ceramic pin snaps inside, so when you close down with the clamshell lock, you know that it will not aggress against those pins, so the tolerances will remain tight and snappy indefinitely into the future, as even steel cannot aggress against the ceramic pins. The case is considerably more sophisticated than the Aquanaut, and this is a big part of where the price premium of the Nautilus comes from. You can see how much more there is in terms of componentry, but also there are creases, there are curves, there are satin and polished elements, and the subtlety of some of the distinctions, such as between the satin finish top of the bezel and the rounded off polygons of the side. This is not easy to achieve. It takes experience and it takes time, and that's one of the reasons why the Nautilus costs more than the Aquanaut, even though through the years they've generally had the same movement. It's because of the complexity of the bracelet and the case on the Nautilus. Screw down crown, 120 meters water resistant. You have a dial that is a blue metallic but with a gradient fade. Patek was way ahead of the pack when it introduced the gradient fade Nautilus dial on the 5711 in 2006. So it's a sort of silver blue at the center and then black navy at the edge, almost black navy blue. With dimple style seconds and minutes track, you can also see white gold indices, white gold hands. There is a quick set for the date, and the big change for 2019 is that finally I can show you a true hacking seconds function. So if you want to synchronize this watch to a reference time, you can now do that to the second without having to apply back pressure to the crown. You can now properly quick set the date and hack the seconds. Rolling it all over, you can see the new movement looks a lot like the old one. A few refinements have been added, a few changes to some bridges. The winding system is visibly different. The train underneath the winding bridge, as it peeks out underneath the terminal end of the train bridge, that's changed a little bit. For the most part, the 26-330 looks a lot like the old 324. Technically, it's very similar as well, as it has the same unidirectional winding action with ceramic rotor bearings, 28,800 vibration per hour beat rate, 6-position adjustment with Gyromax free sprung balance, and an anti-magnetic silicone hairspring. It has the same 35 to 45 hour power reserve, and it has the same accuracy rating from Patek Philippe, which is no worse than -3 plus 2 seconds per day. It pivots on 30 joules, and I have to remember you that COSC, if we remember, is over 24 hours, -4 plus 6 seconds per day. So this is guaranteed to run from Patek no worse than -3 plus 2 seconds per day, which in percentage terms is a huge improvement over COSC. Finishing is mostly manual, though it is more mechanically assisted than some of the high-end complications. Nevertheless, this is solidly more manual finishing than you'll get on the likes of Jaeger-LeCoq, La Soute Originale, or for example, even Audemars Piguet or FP Journe. So Patek is maintaining its edge in its price class, and though this watch often sells for a multiple of 2x over its retail. At retail, the watch still represents excellent value against competitors from Audemars Piguet and Vacheron. And heck, if you're paying the aftermarket markup, you're also getting the watch without a weight. So either way, you win. This timepiece is for those who want the brass ring. I'm not going to lie, there are a lot of good competitors in the segment, but if you want that ineffable combination of Genta design, the blue gradient dial, the ultra-thin case, the remarkable water resistance for its size and thickness, and the undying timeless style, the Nautilus is good for all of that. This is a watch that has yet to be beat. Email tmosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details. And we're back with the 5711 by Night. That's real sports watch lume.